Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Have you ever wondered what would this planet be without seasons? Would this planet even be the way we have it right now? I would like you to think. The cyclic patterns of life and death on this planet is because of the changing seasons. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Today I'm going to talk about my favorite season, which is spring. And that's where the story begins. Spring is a very, very wonderful season. We all know that, we've all experienced that. I just want to ask you all, does anybody know as to why the mechanical spring, you know, the spiral device that we use in automobiles and other applications, why is it called a spring?
Spring back.
Well, yes, in a way, yeah. The reason it's called a spring because it's got the ability to restore through its own inherent nature. And that, my dear friends, is the beauty of the season spring. It restores back life due to its own inherent nature every time it's back. Now, if you are an observer of nature, or even if you wonder the creation and this whole existence as such, you cannot miss to admire the beauty of spring. That's how big it is. And that's how simply omnipresent it is everywhere. See, animals and plants, they all wait for spring, right? Because for them, it's a part of their survival process. But us, mankind, even though we have evolved and we have become not so dependent on the changing seasons and the weather, but yet we are very much dependent on spring in the sense we look forward to it every time. For example, a farmer, he looks forward to spring for his crops to grow. If there is a poet, he's looking for spring for inspiration. If it's a businessman, he's looking for spring for favorable conditions. If you are a traveler, you're looking for spring to explore new destinations. For me, my dear friends, it's just the fascination of life happening all over again. I'll tell you a story, okay? In front of my house, we have a tree. And every time in the fall, the tree will lose all its leaves and it will look bare. And you'll think as if the tree is dead. But once the spring is back, you'll see the leaves coming back and the tree is dressed up in leaves and the happiness and the joy. You can actually see that the tree is really blossoming. It's an actually invigorating feeling for the tree. And it's a great phenomenon for me because every time I see it, I see a miracle happening. That's a miracle, my dear friends. If you really, really observe it closely, it's a miracle happening. Life is happening on its own without any external input. You know, it's just happening on its own. And that is the beauty of spring. I would also like to share with you a few facts about spring which I learned in school, and I thought it would be interesting just to share it with you, but it's really interesting, you know. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. How many of you knew about that? Oh, good. Second thing, if you are standing at the North Pole, and if it's the first day of spring, and if you are looking up in the sky, you see a shimmering light, and for the guy who's standing at the North Pole, it means to him that it's going to be 6 months of days now. But the same guy, if he's standing at the South Pole on the same first day of spring, he sees the same shimmering light in the horizon, but for him now, it's the beginning of 6 months of endless nights. That's how beautiful it is. And it's simply because the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere is actually the first day of fall in the southern hemisphere. That's how it is. Spring normally comes in the month of March. Most times of the year, it's going to be either on the 20th or on the 21st. But sometimes you might see spring on the 19th, and that's because the axis of the earth is not straight, and it takes more than 365 days for the earth to spin around the sun. Minor details, but interesting. So, when I was trying to write a speech on spring, my favorite season, I was trying to balance, the whole topic with some pros and some cons, and I was trying to look for some cons. I said, I have to really speak something bad also about it, just balance the whole thing. And I kept looking, but I couldn't find anything. And I understood the fact. The fact is, because spring is so pro-life, it supports life all the time. I see the light flashing in front of me, my dear friends, so I would like to end my speech, but just before I do that, I would like to use a few lines, which is from my favorite song called Whispering Jessie by John Denver. I don't know if anybody heard that, but the lines go like this. I've always loved springtime, the passing of winter, and life moving on. And that, my dear friend, is the secret of life. Though it's infinite and endless in nature, yet it is very short in our hands. So try to live life the most you can, enjoy it, value it, have a good time. Thank you.